She asked me why I don't write happy poems, why there is no cheer in my craft, no smile in my lines, why I no longer allow pen or larynx to linger on the Seussian simplicity they used to, why my prose so rarely courts beauty, so often comes burn-mark and blood-stain ugly. What could I possibly tell her? Her whose earliest exposure to poetry was by way of the dainties I plucked from doctrine's gut, the psalms of delight and worship, of beatitude and comfort nestled cozy there, safe between the bookends of slavery and self-sacrifice. I would read her Psalm 23 like a prayer before she went to sleep between piles of her button-eyed and plushy protectors. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I... She would never make it to the second stanza, always asleep before mention of the darkness, the valley of the shadow of death, and the fledgling poetry I conjured up from places equally serene came as poor substitutes for those teachers. So when my little sister told me that poetry is supposed to be beautiful and fantastic, like the florid sampling fed to her first-grade class and her second-grade class and her third-grade class as well, and she asked me why I chased all the butterflies from the fields of my alliteration, why everything I wrote was so somber, what could I possibly tell her? What could I tell her of this thing, so often made a fire escape from a world far too engulfed in flame to be thought tolerable or extinguishable? How could I explain to her that darkness thrives by the dousing of light, and that the world is a few flickering candles from oblivion? Were I to actually unspool the ticker-tape litanies of injustices that litter the globe with their atrocities, could she even receive it? If I submerged her in this Charybdian whirlpool, all tortures and rope burns, shackles and bed sores, would she even emerge the same person? I'd like to someday say to her, "Little sister, I won't immerse you in this. I will only give you a drop or two. I promise you will not drown. You may not have glimpsed it between the lines of your psalmic lullabies, but there is a devil. There is an ungodly violence despising life and slighting its every proponent in the books surrounding your serenity. He loathes the love those lines relate, and given momentary rain, he floods our world in the worst deluge of his unbridled hate. And yes, God is love, but no, this oppositional hate does not look like dollar store pitchforks, red spandex, and horns. More hideous its illustration, more searing the effect of its mnemonic presence. Think midday rot, think high noon and derelict abattoirs, walls and impossible bubbling crimson from the gouts of shining waters washing pulpy parasitic driftwood in the bowels of its current. Do not hold your nose at the smell, as the boughs, overripe quarry, lynched on taut stems, swaying like red flags fashioned out of fly paper, with none to receive their holiday-waved warning. The bloody trunks of sisters, mothers, and daughters sprouting out of Iranian soil at behest of a biased Sharia Manucheri, falsely fed to the soil at the hands of her own children. Sakine Mohammadi Ashtiani, bandied like the devil's sport between pit and gallows stone and noose for something she already bought with the swaths of 100 lashes. Do not close your eyes to the sight. It is Ayanna Jones. As old as you were when I would cradle you in Scripture's vows, she was 7 when Detroit police, in their zeal to apprehend, lacking any sort of life-saving apprehension, approached the wrong house and ascended the wrong porch before lobbing instruments intended for raids through the wrong door, making a casualty of a little girl whose only crime was thinking war would stay on the evening news. Peruse this ever-increasing catalog. There are more sofas just like hers than I can count, so stained that the grieving bereaved can't even come to dispose of them, again and again clutching at the maroon Rorschach and glimpsing only 1,000 regrets in its pattern. I'd like to someday say to her, "Little sister, for far too long, poetry was merely my window, a wunderkind's wardrobe through which I would flee, and I'm ashamed of my cowardice. Because the same glass that fills the still-held space can and does reflect, and we need to take a good long look at the condition of our face. This is why I unwind lines obscene as Chicago funerals, each poem an open casket commanding, look, Mrs. Till's tears still spilling, for this face is far from unfamiliar, why I bind words into the whipcords Jesus struck across exploitation, displaying the strength mistaken in his meekness, widow bleeding leeches and thieves revealed in his just outrage, shouting, look, this just outrage at kindergarten digits still pink from their mother's protection, when not wrapping around the strang vulgarities of adulthood, mutilated between the teeth and gears of Saturnian industries, children younger than even you, little sister, raising vestigial stumps like standards flown from Fukushima's radiating denial, radiation creeping unheeded into the masses passing beneath Tokyo's vigilant neon. I know I can't tell her any of this, because I still cherish the pure white snow of her own perspective, and even the angels of my applied good intentions would only ruin that winter wonderland with the thaw of unwelcome spring. Someday, though, when she asks me why I don't write happy poems, someday I'll say, I still do. I still fall thrall to beauty, to the muses through which God sought to show his authorship. It's just that an ugliness like blades of beheaded daisies has spread its leprosy with an infernal fervor, turned my blissful obads into heartbroken hallelujahs. Don't rob your throat of its song, little sister. Don't sacrifice the cradle hymns for the reflection you see in mine, because I haven't given up on beauty. I just love it too much to allow hate its sway by pretending it isn't the cancer it is, metastasizing day by day.